And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. Welcome back to Fanboy Fridays. Everybody say it with me. If you are a fan of LeBron James, we hope your day is going terrible. And it will be after this video. So today we're going to be listening to, reacting to Michael Jordan's post-game interview after the 1997 finals of beating the Utah Jazz, because I just went back and watched it, and as I was listening to it, I was like, man, you know, everything about this interview exposes everything that is wrong with the deer. You know, everything that makes him have to beg for respect, exposes why he has 6 finals losses, exposes why he's one of the most hated athletes if you Google him. Again, I don't hate LeBron James. I just hate the narratives. I hate the way he goes about the game of basketball. But I do not know LeBron James personally. However, that's my personal opinion. But if you Google most hated athletes, Fanboys, your king, he comes up. So, you know, this interview explains a lot of that. And so, without further ado, Fanboys, you might as well click off, because this is some pain for you today. But let's go ahead and get into this video.
Scottie was the only starter out there, and everybody's kind of been complaining about bench play throughout this series. How telling is it that Steve Kerr was the guy who hit a jumper, hit the shot to put you ahead by 1, hit the winning shot?
Steve's been fighting with himself because of Game 4. He missed a 3-pointer, and he went back to his room. He don't even know this. His wife told me that he was very frustrated. He kept his head in a pillow for hours because he let the team down to some degree, because everyone knows he's probably one of the best shooters in the game. And he had an opportunity to put us up and give us a big lift. And he was very disappointed. And when Phil drew up the play at the end, which, as everybody in the gym, everybody on TV knew it was coming to me, I looked to Steve and I said, hey, this is your chance, because I know Stockton's going to come over and help, and I'm going to come to you. And he said, give me the ball. So, I mean, that's just typical John Paxson. You know, I used to play with John Paxson. John Paxson used to say the same thing. And I think tonight, Steve Kerr earned his wings, you know, from my perspective, you know, because I had faith in him and he believed in himself, and I passed him the ball and he knocked the shot down. And I'm glad he was able to redeem himself, because if he'd have missed that shot, I don't think he could have slept all summer long. And I'm very happy for Steve, you know.
So this first part here, a lot of things. So I've done a video on this, basically talking about how in those 97 finals, the shot that Michael Jordan passed to Steve Kerr, MJ didn't have to pass him that ball. Again, if you go back and watch that play, when MJ pump faked, he could have taken that shot. He was close enough to the goal. It would have been, for MJ, it would have been a good shot that I would have say he more than likely would have hit. It was right, you know, nice mid-range jumper and a good angle. He could have hit that. But I feel like a lot of things we can take from this clip. Number one, we've talked about how, to me, Michael Jordan, I think it goes without saying, you know, you can say what you want about him being an a-hole to his teammates, which really comes down to, you know, him holding everybody accountable, him using different means for different players. You know, he didn't treat everybody the same. Randy Brown said MJ never really came at him like that. And he said MJ, you know, all MJ would have to say to Randy Brown is, hey, Randy, you're not doing your job. And so that would be enough for Randy Brown to pick it up. But not everybody was the same way. So obviously MJ had different approaches for different players. But people talk about him being an a-hole. But I would say Michael Jordan cared about his team much more than LeBron James. And to me, this first clip is case in point of that. again, MJ tells a story about Steve Kerr's wife. He said Steve Kerr didn't even know this, but Steve Kerr's wife told him that because of a shot he had missed, that he couldn't sleep, or not couldn't sleep, but his face was buried in a pillow, for a few hours or something. But anyway, MJ gave him a chance to redeem himself, because he knew Kerr felt bad for missing that shot. So in the next game, MJ gave him a chance to redeem himself. Again, go back and look at the tape. MJ could have shot that shot, but he wanted to give his teammate a chance to get the glory. He wanted to give his teammate a chance to make up for what he felt was a mistake. And to me, that is that's showing how much MJ actually cared about the success of his teammates as well. It wasn't just all about his glory. MJ got the glory simply because he was that great a basketball player. It's not like LeBron James, where he's seeking to get the glory at the expense of everybody else. And I'll go as far as to say this. We know about the fight that took place between Michael Jordan and Steve Kerr. Maybe this moment doesn't happen without that fight. But again, this is about holding your teammates accountable in practice. This is about practicing hard. And this is about, sometimes you have to build relationships through conflict. And you have that conflict, but really it's more like a test. MJ is testing people to see what your resolve is, to see how you can stand up to the pressure. That's what he wants to know. And I feel like because of those moments in practice like that, that's what made MJ have the confidence to go to Steve Kerr and felt like he could come to Steve Kerr in that moment. Because again, MJ very well could have took that shot himself, but MJ cared about someone else having the opportunity, someone else having a chance at redemption, someone else being able to say that they contributed something major to the championship. And again, this is not LeBron James. LeBron James overshadows all the players who have really saved his career, whether we're talking about Kyrie or Ray Allen or Anthony Davis, D Wade, LeBron James' need for praise, LeBron James having to play in the system overshadows all that stuff. But anyway, let's continue.
It's all guts, deep down, determination, what your motives are, what your ambitions were from the beginning. It's been a lot of soul searching in terms of, it's easy to sit back and say, well, I've given my best. I'm tired, somebody else got to do it or whatever. I didn't take that approach. I thought positively and said whatever I could do, every little inch of energy that I have, I'm going to try to provide for this team. I mean, they follow Scotty in my lead, and as well as Phil's lead, and Dennis in certain situations. And if you give up, then they give up. So I didn't want to give up. No matter how sick I was, or how tired I was, or how, low on energy I was, I felt an obligation, to my team, to the city of Chicago, to go out and give that extra effort so that we could be here for the 5th championship. I've dedicated myself to to Frank Hamlin and Brian Williams, to other players that get on my back, we're going to win a championship, or get on Scotty's back, we're going to win another championship. We're going to make sure you experience what it takes to be a champion.
So let me play this. Let me play the very beginning of this one more time. Hey, fanboys, listen to what Michael Jordan says very closely right here.
It's all guts, deep down, determination, what your motives are, what your ambitions were from the beginning.
He said it's all guts, determination, what your motives are, what your ambition was from the beginning. And this is what we talk about a lot on this channel. Fanboys, this is the part that you guys probably fail to comprehend over and over again. But what your motives are from the beginning. This is what I said separated Michael Jordan, is that his journey was very simple. his motives were very simple, and that was simply to win. To win each and every time he had an opportunity to win, whether that's in the playoffs, in the regular season, in practice, on the golf course. Like, this is his mentality, is to win. And this is why I think he was so successful, because his journey wasn't weighed down by a lot of extra baggage by trying to be the GOAT like LeBron James. Like, LeBron James wants to be the GOAT. Like, the beginning of his journey, you know, he wanted to be great. Michael Jordan, I don't believe, was ever thinking about being great. He was simply thinking about winning all the time. So his journey was very simple, and it didn't have a lot of extra baggage attached to it. It didn't have, and so maintaining that positive attitude is what really allowed him to succeed. And like he said, the guts and determination. This is what your king lacks severely, is guts and determination. You know, determination meaning no excuses. Determination meaning that will to overcome the odds no matter what they are. There's no such thing as, oh, this team is better than us, or this team is stacked, so, you know, you guys might it's not likely we're gonna win. We're gonna go out here and play, but, you know, we're probably not gonna win because they added Kevin Durant to the team now. I mean, they had already had the best regular season record, and now they added Kevin Durant. It's no way we can win. You know, that is not guts and determination. Guts and determination is, I don't care who's on the court. Like, we can find a way to get this done. I will find a way to get this done. This is what LeBron James lacks severely. And like I said, this is the whole thing about when he talks about what were your motives from the beginning. What is your motives from the very beginning? It's like, again, no matter what you're doing in life, this is not just about basketball. You know, I feel like the motive has to be about a passion for what you do. And that will lead you to all the other great things. But if your motive is fame and praise because of what you do, like, you're always gonna come up short. You're gonna come up short to the people who had a passion for what they do. Like, you think about Michael Jackson. Like, Michael Jackson had a passion for music, which is why he is still the biggest pop star that has ever existed to this date. Again, if for those of us who grew up back in the Michael Jackson era, then you know it's like his concerts, people were passing out left and right just at the sight of this guy. But this is not because Michael Jackson was chasing fame. Michael Jackson was a passionate singer, passionate about his creative process, about what he created musically. Mike Tyson, if you ever listen to Mike Tyson talk about boxing, you can tell how much Mike Tyson loves the sport of boxing. Not only, well, number one, you can tell because he always gives props to the players to the boxers from the past. Again, unlike LeBron James and everybody that surrounds him and everybody that's a part of this whole CFL, they are all always looking for ways to try to tear down the past eras. But again, so to me, this was a very important soundbite here, where he says what it's all about what your motives were from the beginning. Like, what are you setting out to do from the beginning? What is motivating you to, to do this thing that you're doing? Is it fame and praise, LeBron James and his fanboys? Or is it just your passion for what it is that you do? That's your complete motivation. And then after that, having the guts and determination, like Michael Jordan said, having the guts and determination, meaning, again, like I said, fanboys, there should be no such thing as, oh, well, now the Warriors, they've added KD to the team. It's over for us. What do you expect me to do? Oh, J.R. Smith, you ruined our one and only chance to steal a game. Now it's completely over. I don't know what to do. But I'm such a great leader. I have such high basketball IQ. And then so after that, I wanted to replay that clip. But after that, he goes on and talks about, no matter how tired he was or sick he was, he had to go on because the team was gonna go as he goes. He's like, the team is following me. Oh, and this is something else you fanboys should notice. During this whole interview, this video might get long, everybody. But during this whole interview, the amount of times that he heaps praise on Scottie and that he is very inclusive to Scottie. But yeah, he says, the team goes as me and Scottie goes. And then he starts to say something about like, they can hop on my back or they can hop on Scottie's back. But he is very inclusive. But the main point of this is that he is saying that, look, I'm the leader. I can't have any excuse. I can't let me being tired or let me being sick be an excuse to, not go out there and give my all, because the team goes as I go. I'm the leader. So if I'm not, playing 100%, then they're gonna follow. But if I'm out there, giving my all, no matter what the situation, then they're gonna do the same. That's the example that you're setting for the rest of the team, is that, hey, it doesn't matter what's happening, nothing less than your best is accepted. I don't accept it from myself, therefore you shouldn't accept it from yourself. I'm not gonna accept it from you either. So it's such an important thing while we are in this era of load management and, again, players looking for every reason not to play 82 games, players looking for every reason or excuse why they couldn't participate in this or why they had a bad game, and but the reality of it is if you're a leader, if you're a true leader, none of that makes a difference. If you're a true leader, you get out there and you perform no matter what. Let's continue.
Michael, it seemed to be a special moment between you and Scottie when they gave you the MVP award. Can you describe what you were thinking and what your emotions were then?
When I was here before I retired, I overshadowed Scottie a lot. And he didn't get the recognition that he truly deserved. And he's matured since I've been around, and when I stepped away, he matured even more because he understood what I was sheltering him from. The pressure and the press and the expectations that he had to deal with being a star. And when I'm back, he shouldn't get any less of an attention than if I was gone. And when I won the MVP, and I would hold true to my word, I would take the trophy. He can have the card. I'm gonna make sure he gets the card. Because he's like a little brother to me, and he's prospered and he's moved along. And from a financial standpoint, from a contract standpoint, he's locked in, and he very deserving of the same $30 million or 30 whatever I get in the next coming year. He's very deserving of the same contract. Because he put forth the effort every single night. He goes through the pain, and we work out every day. He's joined me in working out every day to stay healthy and to get out here and provide for this organization and this city so that we can be healthy and we can continue to be champions. So, that's what brothers do. We share our success, and that's what I'm doing to him. I just want the trophy. I got enough cars. He can have the Nissan.
All right, so again, fanboys, this is something that I have not really heard from your king at all. And I'm not saying he has never complimented another one of his teammates, but he's never went out of his way to make sure that his teammates get the credit they deserve. Like Michael, this is just one interview, but you can find plenty of interviews over and over with Michael Jordan complimenting Scottie Pippen, saying that, hey, he's going to give him the car and whatnot. I think he was, being funny on some of it. But, saying that, hey, Scottie is just as deserving of however much money I get. Scottie's just as deserving of it. And, to go back and acknowledge that, hey, Scotty has probably been overshadowed because of me a lot. And, you know, when I retired, Scotty got to see how it felt to be the person who all the pressure is on. And we know how that turned out with Scotty putting his Jordans up to the camera and, you know, signaling for Jordan to come back. So, you know, Scotty got to see that that's not an easy place to be, being the one who has to take, you know, all the criticism for the losses. And, you know, that's something that I felt like, you know, everybody wants to be on top until you get to see what the pressure's like on top. The top is not it's not a comfort zone. The top is not a stress-free zone. You know, being on top, yes, you get a lot of praise, but there's also a lot that you have to deal with. This is something that I tell people all the time. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, do not, if you think that you can be at the top of anything without it coming with the stress, without it coming with extra problems, like that is a fairy tale land. But yeah, we see here Michael Jordan, you know, really giving Scotty, you know, making sure that Scotty gets his just due, making sure that people understand that. And let me say this, you know, according to Michael, he said this is like a big brother, little brother scenario, like it's big brother and little brother. So to me, Michael Jordan saw Scottie Pippen in a much greater light than I think a lot of fans see him. Or let me say me personally, again, because I think replace Scottie with any other halfway decent player and you're gonna get the same outcome. Like, Scottie became who he was because of playing with Michael Jordan. Because he got to witness firsthand every day in practice someone who was gonna push him to his limit. You know, if it wasn't for that, I don't believe we're seeing the top 50 player Scottie Pippen. You know, again, I think Scottie would be more closer to some kind of maybe Eddie Jones type player, Latrell Sprewell, somewhere in that vein. You know, because without playing with Michael Jordan, I'm not sure Scottie had it in him to be the leader. I think Scottie learned that leadership that he was able to have some success when Michael Jordan wasn't there. I believe he learned that leadership from Michael Jordan. So again, you know, no Michael Jordan, we're not talking about Scottie in the same way. However, if Scottie never came there, we would still be talking about Michael Jordan is probably the greatest player that we've ever seen play basketball. Because again, the eye test tells you that that's the greatest player we've ever seen. Again, I think in the last video I was talking about, or someone asked a question about, if Jordan wound up playing baseball and never coming back for their second three-peat. And, you know, I think that would affect his legacy in the eyes of a lot of people. But for me personally, I don't know, because I would still say, hey, you know, regardless of, you know, he only has 3 championships. Again, the people in the future have passed him if he only had 3 championships. If we're assuming that Duncan still gets 5 and Kobe still gets 5 and Curry has 4 and, you know, and whatnot, if we're assuming that those things take place, then, you know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of argument to say that they're greater players than Michael Jordan. But as far as I'm concerned, again, the eye test tells all. And I would still be saying, you know, they might have more accolades, but this is the best guy I have ever seen on the basketball court. But yeah, you know, I just wanted to put, like I said, if anybody knows, I would love to hear it in the comment. Fanboys, if you can find a clip or some clips of LeBron James constantly praising one of his teammates, making sure that they get their just due, making sure that they get their credit, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Anyway, let's continue.
Michael, over to your left. Michael, earlier in the week you were talking about how how easy it is for a home crowd to cheer the team when you're up 10 or 15 points. It's a lot harder when the team is down. Talk about the final push that the crowd gave you tonight as you overtook in the score.
Well, the crowd here in Chicago took a hit. The fans took a hit because everybody said that they sit on their hands, they got high expectations, whatever. So what? They should have high expectations. We spoil them, and we want to continue to spoil them. Sure, Utah's crowd is very, very loud, and they experience something that they've never experienced. You can expect with me ever since I've been here in '84. I never give up on them. We've gone from the bottom to the top as a tandem, as a team. And I never give up on Chicago fans. And tonight, they inspired all of us. You know, when we got the opportunity and they saw that we were getting over that hill, you know, we could feel that. I felt chill bumps, you know, from their cheers. You know, and I think everybody did. And that gave us the energy to push that extra step so that we could be champions all over again.
So, what the reporter asked him at the beginning, he said something to the effect about the crowd, you know, the difference between the crowd cheering when they're up 15 versus, you know, when you're down 15. And it actually made me think about, for those of you who've seen The Last Dance, those of us who've seen The Last Dance, if you remember the scene where Michael Jordan is sitting in the locker room with the baseball bat, smoking a cigar before the game, right? And he says something to the effect that let's see if that trash talking starts when the score is 0-0 instead of when you're up 8 or 9 points. He said something to that effect. And so basically he was saying is he was basically saying stop being a front runner. Let's see if you can be a man and back up your trash talk when you're not already in the lead. We all know that LeBron James is one of the biggest front runners in the history of the game. But anyway, that clip, the soundbite at the beginning just made me think of Michael Jordan saying that. Now, I don't think that's what the reporter was actually talking about. But you hear Michael Jordan's response. He said, we've spoiled the fans and we want to continue to spoil them. And he talked about, you know, not wanting to let the fans down. What a boost the fans gave him. And this is what I'm saying. You know, this is the difference between this modern era of basketball where we have gotten so far away from what grew the game, what made the game the most popular it's ever been in the 90s, partly is having superstars who were playing for the fans. Like, they understood the importance of the fans. These modern day players, including the Deer, including your King fanboys, have no idea how to respect the fans, have no idea how to appreciate the fans who allow them to make the money that they make, who's the very reason that they have a job to begin with. And so, you know, just reiterating how Michael Jordan's his dedication to the fans and his understanding, he's like, yeah, the fans should have high expectations because we went from a losing franchise to a winner. And he was like, I want to keep it that way. Like, I don't want to disappoint the fans. I want them to expect great things from us. Whereas, you know, we all know what LeBron James, you know, it would have just been some excuses. You know, it would have been so just some lame excuse of why this didn't happen, why this couldn't happen. You know, no sense of obligation when he's out there whining to the referees about, you know, delivering to the fans. When he's out there whining about every call, when he's out there flopping, you know, when he's out there doing things that just shows that he's just not a competitor. You know, he has no thought about or obligation for the fans. When he's low managing, no sense of obligation for the fans. When he's getting his son put on the Lakers, when he's getting his podcast partner to coach the Lakers, no sense of obligation for the fans, no sense of loyalty for the fans, no sense that you owe the fans anything at all. Anyway, let's continue.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions.
Michael, obviously, in the wake of this incredible celebration, there'll be some very difficult business decisions for
Sure.
Jerry Reinsdorf. can you please, as to your best ability, lay out the scenario that you would like to see unfold and the one that you expect to unfold because of money considerations, particularly involving Scottie Pippen's future?
Well, you want me to be GM, I guess. Take Jerry Krause's position. Well, I think this team is entitled to an opportunity to continue to be successful. Sure, business has got to come involved. I'm not saying Jerry Reinsdorf is the richest guy in the world. I'm not saying that all his partners can financially support what this team needs to maintain or be successful. But we've done a lot for this organization, and we put it in a situation where it could be highly valuable. When I first came here, and I'm pretty sure everybody can tell you that the Bulls team was worth probably $13 million, 15, 16, 17 million dollars. Now it's worth $150 million. So the profits have been made over the years. What we gain now in trying to keep this team together and be successful, we pay for over 6, 7, 8, 10 years. There has to have some consideration, some sense of loyalty. You know, to myself, to Scottie, to Phil, even to the guys who, you know, given themselves over the last 2 years, or even Dennis, with all the different colors that he may wear in his hair or his dresses or whatever. We are entitled to defend what we have until we lose it. If we lose it, then you look at it and you say, okay, let's change. Let's just go through a rebuilding. No one's guaranteeing rebuilding is going to be 2 or 3, 4, 5 years. Cubs have been rebuilding for 42 years. And that's something that you have to look at, you know, from a business aspect. So if you want to look at this from a business thing, have a sense of respect for the people who have laid the groundworks so that you can be a profitable organization. And I'm not trying to twist Jerry Reinsdorf's arm. It sounds like it, though. But I like to see us defend what we have attained over the last 5 out of 7 years, which is a championship team. And I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe he has to mortgage his home or leverage the team against whatever bank notes that he may have. But I think we are entitled to defend what we have. And Phil should be the head coach. And I shouldn't be put in a position to have to make a choice to play for another coach other than Phil Jackson. Simple as that. You know, sadly as it may be, I have choices. You know, and I will not choose to play for another coach. I chose to play for Phil Jackson and to finish Scottie Pippen's contract out and let him have an opportunity to have the same type of choices. Because he's earned it, and I've earned it, and Phil's earned it, and the city of Chicago has earned it. For years we've been, wait till next year, wait till next year. Now we're 5 out of 7 years champions. That means a lot. For once, don't look at the bottom line. Look at the joy of this night and every night that we have won a championship and the enjoyment that you have put together an unbelievable organization that's been champions for 5 out of 7 years.
All right, fanboys, here we go. This is something that your king absolutely would know nothing about. Michael Jordan said that when he first got there, the Bulls organization was worth like, what, 17, 18 million? And at the time of the interview, he said it's worth like 150 million. This is something your king knows nothing about, is building in one place. I mean, your king's, he really just ruined his whole career. He ruined his whole career as far as what he actually wanted to happen. Again, he wanted all this praise. He wanted to be Michael Jordan-like, but the route he took is no way. He didn't build anything, and it was all shortcuts. Now, something else Michael Jordan said, and he was talking about, you know, Jerry Reinsdorf and Krause, and he said something about, yeah, I understand the business, but you also have to basically, you know, look out for the people who were allowed you to be this profitable. So to me, you know, Michael Jordan was basically saying, look, it's a balance. Yeah, I understand the business, but everything can't be about business. And and he was talking about from the owners to the player standpoint, but now I feel like it's got to the point where we're talking about the players to the fans. Like, the players have become all about the money without any regard for the reason that they are allowed to make that kind of money. That's the people who watch the basketball game. Those are the people, you know, again, it's the fans who allow you to be in that position where you are. And again, Michael Jordan continues to include Scottie Pippen, saying, hey, you know, Scottie deserves a chance to, you know, have the opportunity to finish out his contract and have options like I have options. And again, something we've never heard LeBron James do, and that's, you know, stand up for his coach. Basically saying, you know, I don't want to play for anybody else for Phil Jackson, and I have options. I don't have to play for anybody else but Phil Jackson. You know, if that's going to be the case, like, I can leave the game. But this is Michael Jordan, you know, again, standing up for Phil Jackson, but it's about more than Phil Jackson. It's about Michael Jordan is standing up for everybody that helped build what Chicago Bulls became. Again, this is really the key word here, is Michael Jordan is loyal to those who helped build, who were put in the grind. And again, this is why your king could never, ever even, shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence with Michael Jordan, with Kobe Bryant, with Bird and Magic. You know, he's just not that kind of guy. Like, your king is a flake. Your king is a fraud. Your king is, I just really can't say enough bad things about what he has done, not only to the game of basketball, but to everything surrounding the game of basketball. Like I said, he's brought in this whole player entitlement. He's decreased the competition level, and, you know, he's just really made it this clown show. You know, at this point, I mean, my goodness, you know, we see what's already happening. We see what's happening with the Olympic team, you know, and we haven't, you know, when it gets to next season and we seeing JJ Redick coaching Bronny and all this stuff, I mean, my goodness, I never thought, you know, I remember watching this particular post-game interview with Michael Jordan, and, you know, we all knew that it was getting near the end of Michael Jordan's career, just based on, you know, we all knew the things surrounding, you know, Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson and whatnot. So we knew the end was coming. We were all hoping that it was going to last several more years, but I don't think any of us were thinking that if we could have looked into the future and someone said, hey, well, you know, in 2020, it's going to be this guy who never participated in the slam dunk contest, but yet refers to himself as one of the greatest dunkers. It's going to be this guy who breaks Kareem's record, but who claims he's the best scorer of all time just because of the longevity. There's going to be this guy who hires his podcast partner to be the coach. You know, there's going to be this guy who gets his son a job who's clearly not ready to be in the NBA, but who throws his weight around to get his son a position. You know, there's got to be this guy who walks around crowning himself all the time. There's going to be this basketball player who supposedly is in the GOAT conversation, who, if you Google most hated athletes, his name comes up. Like, there's going to be this guy who supposedly hadn't had any great coaches, but he's leaving teams all the time. Supposedly hadn't had any great teammates, but yet he's leaving teams all the time. You know, watching this interview back then, there's no way you would have thought that the NBA was going to be in the shape that it was. It's like LeBron James basically is like, he's really leeching off of what Michael Jordan built. This is what's going on. He's leeching off of what Michael Jordan built. Like, Michael Jordan built something that everybody could eat off of, and it's like LeBron James is gorging himself without replenishing anything, without adding to, so that the future NBA players can have something that can last a while. It's like LeBron James is a vampire to the NBA, and he's created a bunch of other vampires who are just trying to suck the NBA dry. There you go. Anyway, let's continue.
Do you want Rodman back?
Sure. His dresses doesn't bother me. His hair doesn't bother me. Sure, I mean, he's going to go wacko every now and then. We've come to live with that. We've come to accept that. But you can't find another player on the basketball court that works just as hard as Dennis Rodman. Gives 110%, dives at loose balls, even if he can't get them. That's Dennis Rodman. So I don't have a problem with Dennis, you know, and I don't think Phil does. I don't think Dennis does. I mean, I don't think Scotty does. We've been able to control him to some degree. And look, we're here for champions back to back. You guys may love him. He may say a lot of crazy things, and David Stern may find him $50,000. The guy doesn't care about money.
So when you sit down with Jerry, you will express to him that it's important.
Which Jerry you asked me to sit down with?
Either one.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. We're going to take
I got it. Go ahead.
So it'll be important, thank you, it'll be important to you to have him back, and you'll let over.
Sure. Dennis already said he'd play for free, so money's not an issue. He makes more money off the court, supposedly. I don't know.
Okay, we're going to have to conclude the interview session. Thank you, Michael.
I enjoyed being here with you guys.
Okay, we're going to have Karl Malone and John Stockton together next. We ask for respect for other journalists.
All right, man. My people, what good times. Those of us who grew up in the 90s, what great times in basketball we got to live through. Yeah, and so, you know, last part of the interview, you know, they're asking him about Dennis Rodman. And, you know, he talks about some of Dennis' antics, but he says, you know, you can't find anybody who works harder on the court than Dennis Rodman. And we got to see some of that in The Last Dance, you know. And so, yeah, to me, you know, if I had to sum up a lot of what was being said, you know, over the course of this interview, first of all, is that, you know, obviously Michael Jordan is no quitter. Michael Jordan is loyal to anybody who's going to give their all on the court. This is what he respects. So, you know, I feel like it would almost, you could almost say with certainty that there's no way that if you got Michael Jordan behind closed doors that he got any kind of respect for LeBron James. It would be hard for me to believe. Now, the only way I see this as possible is because Michael Jordan, you know, if you followed him throughout his career, you know how much he talks about maintaining a positive attitude and finding something positive, you know, from a negative. So maybe in that sense, but just based on, like I said, what he seems to value, there's no way that he could have any respect for LeBron James. But yeah, he seems to value people, you know, who are putting in that work. And as long as you're putting in that work, look, I can deal with the antics. But as long as when you're on the court, we know you got your 100%. And he talked about, you know, Dennis Rodman diving for loose balls, even when he can't get to them. You know, that's just, he just puts in that amount of effort. In which, you know, I'm getting ready to do a video about the 92 Dream Team versus this current team, because, you know, so many of these mainstream media people are out there capping too hard, you know, capping like their life depended on it about this current team. And, you know, I think the overall thing is, you know, this current team, they couldn't compete with the 92 teams just for the fact that they don't have that hustle. They don't have that playing like my life depended on it kind of attitude. But anyway, we are going to hold up here. Let me know what you think in the comments, people. What do you think about this post-game interview with Michael Jordan? What did you take for it? Do you think that everything was said here exposes why LeBron James is who he is? Because LeBron James is the opposite of all these things that Michael Jordan talked about. You know, Michael Jordan talked about, you know, what are your motivations at the very beginning? This is very important. What are your initial intention behind what you do? This is important. He talked about the determination and the guts. He talked about not giving up even when you're tired, because basically saying that, you know, the team follows you. If you're the leader, the team follows you. You know, he gave Scotty his props several times over. And like I said, you can find plenty of interviews of him, you know, really going out of his way to give Scotty his props. like I said, to me, this is just everything that's the opposite of the so-called king, of the deer. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly, truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.